yes, you can buy a house. Yeah, yep. Whoever you are that's watching this, you can buy a house. Okay, now let's talk about this as a concept, because I hear every day, oh, I don't think I can buy because of this. I don't think I can buy because of this. There's people who are afraid to call me because they're like, I'll never be able to buy. Guys, you can buy a house. Okay, so what we do is when we talk to people, we're trying to figure out where they are right now. Okay, and if they're not in a position right now to buy a house, we can say, hey, you want to get to here, here's the path. Okay, so I want to bring up a couple things before I get into, I'm going to go over reasons people think they can't buy a house and why it's not actually a reason. Okay, now shame is a big thing in our culture, especially shame about money. People don't talk about money enough in our society. There's just so much shame around it, and there shouldn't be. And I want you guys to know, I am not going to shame you. No one's on my team is going to shame you. We don't even, this stuff just like, we've all been there. Like, we know people are human. We know that like bad times can happen. I came into the mortgage lending industry during 2008. Okay. So I came in during the biggest financial crisis, and my first job was talking to everyone who was losing their houses. So I know stuff can go sideways when you have the best of intentions. So we do not judge based off of your past. We judge off of where you are and how to get you. And the only judging we're doing is we're just trying to say, okay, we're judging where you are. Here we go. Let's do this. Now, do we shame people? No. Absolutely not. I like, guys, if you had seen my credit in my 20s, you'd be like, girl, I can't believe you ever bought a house. Yeah, I fixed it. We've all had stuff in our past. So the first thing is, I don't want you to be shamed. I don't want you to be embarrassed. Every single person on my team has the same attitude, which is we want you guys to feel empowered and educated. And there's nothing that makes me happier than when someone says, Jen, I never thought I could do it. I hit your channel and now I own a house. Cause I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna cry. Okay. It's exciting. It's exciting, guys, because our high schools failed us. They didn't teach us any of this, right? So people have always had to depend on their parents for financial education. Well, if your parents weren't good with money, you're screwed then, right? So YouTube's a magical place because now you guys have all this information at your fingertips. So step number one, congratulate yourself because you're on an education channel. That's great. You're trying to learn about buying a house. You're trying to learn about the mortgage process. You're trying to learn about what we do. That is the first step, and that is a brilliant step, okay? Because education is the first step. Now, okay, so we've covered the no shame. Okay, I'm not going to judge you. Now, if you guys talked to a lender before and they were mean to you or rude to you, I was actually talking to a client about this today. I was like, the people who treat people poorly usually don't know what they're talking about, right? Or they're just bad people. And like, either way, do you want to work with someone that doesn't know what they're doing and has a rotten personality? I don't. Like, seriously. So any lender that was mean to you before, we're just going to put them in the ugh category. Okay, that's a new ugh category. Yeah. Okay, so wash them away. This is a different experience. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the reasons people think they won't qualify and why it's not an issue. Medical collections. I hear this one a lot. So sometimes people will be like, well, I've got a 680 or 620 or 640 credit score, but I've got medical collections, so I don't think I can buy. And I'm like, we don't really care about medical collections. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really affect most loan programs. Let's look at it. Medical collections, a lot of times what happens is people, they put off talking to someone like me because they're trying to get everything perfect. And what they don't understand is that sometimes when you guys are trying to get everything perfect, you actually can do more damage than good. Sometimes paying off collections can actually make your credit score worse. Seriously. Now, I am not a credit expert, but there's a bunch on YouTube that talk about this type of stuff. Paying off a charge off, there's no point. It's already been charged off. So if you have a charge off and you pay it off, you're just paying a collector when the original debtor's already charged off. There's all these little things that we can look at and we don't see as a big deal that often you will see as a big deal. So I always think, get on the calendar, ask us, we'll tell you if it's a big deal or not. It's going to be Alyssa or myself. If Alyssa hits something that she doesn't know, she's going to reach out to me. Okay, now look, and you're like, well, why doesn't Alyssa know as much as you? Guys, I've been doing this for 15 years. Okay, I'm very unique in how long I've been doing this and how immersed I am in everything. Like, it's a different animal. So Alyssa knows a ton, but if she doesn't know the answer, she's always gonna come to me, okay? In super complicated situations, I will be calling you, okay? So very important, there's stuff on your credit that you may think is a big deal that we don't. Credit score. People are always twisted about credit score. They're like, well, wait, what if, like, a great example is VA. They'll be like, well, I just wanna get it to 760. Why? Why? You don't need to for VA. You know, if your lease is going up, why are you staying in that property to get this credit score that's not going to have any impact on your rate? Okay, VA, FHA, credit score does not affect your rate as much as conventional. Conventional, higher credit scores help. Is it necessary always? No, it depends on your personal situation, okay? So credit score is another thing I hear. Now, if your credit score is 400 and you haven't paid your bills in the last year, yes, you need to clean that up. I can't do anything right now, but we can definitely talk and I can say, hey, look, you've got to get your payments under control, you know, because we've got to be able to show the underwriter that you have the ability to repay. Very important. Okay, so credit score comes up. Sometimes people might have had mortgage rates on past mortgages like 2-3 years ago. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If the score is fine, you know, usually we're not going to have a huge issue with multiple lates. The only time mortgage lates really come into play is if it's within the last 2 years. And there's different guidelines based on the loans that affects that. Okay, what else do people get worried about? Bankruptcies. There's a lot of shame around bankruptcies. I don't think there should be any shame around bankruptcies. It happens. Like sometimes divorce happens, businesses fail, medical. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that people can go into bankruptcy where it's like, what else are they supposed to do? Like especially medical. I see so many people going to bankruptcy because of medical. Like, it's expensive to get healthcare in America. Like, it's the facts, right? Don't have shame. Okay, you at least had the foresight to go, okay, I need to remedy the situation. Congratulate yourself for recognizing that there was a financial issue that you had to deal with and you dealt with it with a BK so you could have that fresh start. Okay, now different loans have guidelines on when you can apply for a mortgage next, but if you're like, I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right between now and that time, just call me. My cell phone is 707-478-0637. 9 out of 10 times it's me calling you back. The only time Alyssa calls back on that is if I am buried, because I hate it when people have to wait for me. But look, this is not hard for us. We look at this every day. So we can say, okay, you had a BK last week, great. You're gonna have to start reestablishing credit. But when you reestablish credit, I don't want you to take out a lot of debt. I don't want you to buy a car. I want you to get a credit card and put a tank of gas on it every single month, and I want you to pay it off. Simple stuff like that. Right? Okay. What else do people decline themselves over? Usually there's so much shame around credit score, stuff that's happened in the past. That's the most of what I see. Jobs. Sometimes people will call me and they'll say, well, I'm low income. Okay. Cool. Well, how much do you make? How much are the houses where you're looking? Let's see if we can make this work. We don't look at it and go, yeah, you don't make $1 million. Like, we don't care. I don't care. I look at income as, okay, how much do you make? And can we find a house where you want to look that will work with your income? If not, you know, should you be looking at like USDA Direct? It's not a loan I do. USDA directly does it. But if you're low income in certain parts of the country, USDA Direct can be a great loan because they subsidize the loan. There's stuff out there. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say, is there's stuff out there. So you may be like, I'm low income, I'll never get a loan. Whereas I'm like, hey, actually you qualify for this amount and there's houses for sale, so you're good. Or yeah, you're in a really expensive area and you want to stay there, maybe look at this program or this program. Okay, or, you know, Google affordable housing. Affordable housing is a thing and it can be magical. So that's very important. Why else do people think they're going to get declined? It's just so much shame around credit. Oh, savings. Okay, so my VA buyers, this one's especially for you guys. So sometimes I'll hear from a veteran and they'll be like, you know, I've got my VA benefit, but I don't have any money. Like, can I actually get a house? Now, VA, you actually can, and it's just we have to negotiate with the seller for closing costs. Now, if you're a conventional or an FHA buyer, you will need some amount of down payment. You know, conventional first-time home buyers as low as 3%. FHA, you do not have to be a first-time home buyer, 3.5%. You know, and if you're like, well, I have the 3%, but I can't save closing, I don't know. Guys, the market's shifting. Let's negotiate with the seller. Like, let's think outside of the box. So I think what's most important for you guys to know is, as a lender, there's so many different ways for me to look at what you guys are doing. And I'm always really happy when someone goes, I just wanted to see, You know, like, I don't want you guys declining yourself. And I've done videos on that are like, stop declining yourself. Because I see people get into this negative spiral, you know, and sometimes it's tied to the media that they see, like social media. If you like on stuff that says you're never going to own a house, that's what you're going to be fed. You're going to be fed by the algorithm, all this stuff that basically says housing's only for the rich. You have to have 20% down. Everyone's against you. And we see a lot of that amplified right now. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. Okay. I have seen people where, you know, like just 400 credit scores, you know, they don't have a job, and 2 years later, their credit score's up, they're in stable employment, and they're closing on their house. Anything is possible if you believe it's possible and you put a workable plan together, okay? Now, I know a lot of you guys are going, well, bullshit. Well, guys, look, if you, I don't even know. I mean, look, if you have a 400 credit score right now and no job and you want to buy a $32 million mansion, is that likely in 2 years? You know, probably not, but I don't know. Maybe you have a brilliant idea and you're going to start a business and that business is going to catapult. I don't know. Anything is possible. And that's what I want you guys to know. And so if you guys are ever like unsure, or if you're like, well, like the other thing I hear a lot of is, I don't want to waste your time. Okay. I don't see any of this as a waste of my time. Like, if I wanted buyers just, you know, delivered on a silver platter, I would do my videos a different way. That's not what I want. Do I like it? Yeah, it's nice sometimes. It's nice sometimes, but I also love the ones where it's like, okay, let's tweak this and this, and then call me back in a month and we're going to do it. I love helping people into houses. I love telling you guys how to get into houses. And I love that we're doing it in a conservative, financially responsible way. Okay, I want to stress that, because there's way too many people on social media right now that are like, oh, terrible credit. They're always dancing. I know, and the dance moves are really this bad. Terrible credit, no money, right? And they're dancing you into a loan that's going to have a higher interest rate, higher fees, and may be really difficult for you to repay. So just so you guys know, I'm always looking at this from the most responsible manner possible, and I go through all of this with you. So if you guys have questions or comments, please reach out. I'm licensed in 48 states. I already gave you my cell phone number, but I'll have it all in the body, links to the calendar. You can buy a house, okay? You can buy a house. Look in the mirror and just say, I can buy a house. And I know this sounds cheesy, but guys, you can buy a house. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.